Hello. Let me know if you're here. I can see. And if you can see my screen. Sorry guys, I know I'm a little bit late. Sorry about that, tech problems. So it's my first time using this screen and I've done a dry test, but you know how it is sometimes. Anyway, all right, so we're just gonna start. Okay, so I'm even clicking on the wrong screen. Okay, here we are. So welcome to the Brand Tour Commencement Masterclass, and this is Gretchen Orris-Chong. So we're gonna cut this short because we're running a little bit late, and I'm really respectful of your time, even though you're probably, even though we're 15 minutes late. I'm very, very sorry, but we're just gonna get started. And if you have any questions, just post it in the group. Not sure if the chat is working here, but yep, pretty much just post it in the group and I'll answer them for you, okay, at the end of it. So I just want to do this quick presentation as a wrap up with everything that we've discussed, and also it answers a few questions that you guys have posed to me at some point during the challenge. So I just want to make sure we cover everything. So here we go. All right, so we're going to skip the about me. That's just standard in my presentations. If you're here, you already know quite a bit about me. I hope so anyway. And that's probably why you're here. So as you know, I'm a graphic web designer and I'm self-taught. And now I call myself a branding artisan and mentor. And I really love creating resources for entrepreneurs so you can create your own standout brands. All right, so what we'll cover today would be these key topics. Some of them you all probably already know, but I'll give you a bit more info and background on them. And if you have any questions as well, just post them in the group. So basically, what we'll cover today is choosing between personal versus your business branding. This question comes up a lot. And if you're not coming up with that question at the moment, if you don't have that question for yourself at the moment, it may come up later on. It's always something that that entrepreneurs encounter in their journey. So I want you guys to be aware of this. That way, when you come to that crossroads, you'll be a little bit more informed. All right, and the second one is how to figure out your branding the easy way. We've covered that as well in day one, I believe. So, but I just want to talk a few more things about that as well that I haven't covered in the challenge. And then number 3 is how to cut your learning curve, marketing and graphics creation in half with these lesser known simple tools. Okay, so the first topic, personal versus business brand, which one should you choose? So here are the top 5 questions that I would ask you, anyone who is thinking about whether or not they should build a personal brand or a business brand. Number 1 is, does your target market prefer to do business with people or companies? Which means if you're working with one-on-one with people and you're talking to, business owners, small business owners, normally people like to deal with people and not companies, especially the big companies. They get a bad rap these days. Of course, you have exceptions, right? But at the end of the day, you want to put a name to the face, a face to the name, and personal branding does that. So number 2, are you doing direct marketing so that you can sell something in the near future? Direct marketing would be when you put out an ad and it goes directly to your customer, and the expected response is for them to contact you or purchase your products. Number 3, are you selling someone or something? Okay, that's a really important question, and we're going to get to that in a sec. Number 4, is there a reason to not use your own name? Okay, so this one, it's pretty straightforward. If your name may have some, unfortunate connotations in your industry, if you think that that your name is not something that's going to be recognizable in your industry, then this is the part where you could consider creating a business brand, or at least getting a brand name and not using your name, but you're still the face to your brand. You can do that as well. And number 5, are you ready to be sane? Okay, and we're going to talk about that in the next slides. All right. So first things first, everybody has a personal brand, and business brands are optional. Whether you have a business brand, you would still be the person behind it. So you'd have a personal brand behind that as well. So you can't just forever hide behind your business brand. You have to still think about how you're going to build your personal brand. Okay. And the number one thing why you want to make sure that you have a good personal brand is because personal brands are more relatable. Think about this. We humans have existed for, you can correct me on this, but a few thousands of years, right? And basically, a business or a company is relatively new. It's been around for maybe 100 years. But in essence, like on a deeper emotional level, we recognize the person, we recognize things, but not necessarily businesses or companies. So that's something that not many people realize when they're starting out, and they say, oh, right, I want to start a business. I'm going to start a business brand. But I guess in the beginning, maybe in the 80s or 90s, that was fine. But now it's all about connecting with people, especially with social media and the internet, where it's so easy to just jump on a call with someone from across the world, which I've just had prior to this presentation with Elizabeth. But basically, because it's so easy to connect, it's no longer recommended to hide behind a business brand. And it's not as advantageous as before, okay? And personal brands are for real connection. And that's pretty much the gist of what I've just said in previously in the last slide. So basically, if you really want to connect with someone, you cannot hide behind a business brand. So you have to think about your personal brand as well, even though if you have a business brand, but the person behind it has to be very, so has to be, has to form that emotional connection with your customer, okay? And all right, having 2 screens is kind of hard to get used to. But all right, and lastly, personal brands are human. And as I mentioned before, our basic emotional tendency is to gravitate towards human, right? Like these days, you would have seen businesses who don't even talk to you as a person, or they don't give you the feeling that you actually care. So basically, that's where the personal brand comes in. As a small business owner, this gives you a leg up. By being that person behind the business, or just being the face of the business, it makes you more human, more reachable, and therefore they would feel like, you know, you really care about them. And not only that, I mean, obviously you should care about your customers, but it feels more like, for instance, your customer might say, okay, I've got this company who's running all the Facebook ads for me, and they just refer to the company. How, like, think about the difference of that versus your client saying, oh yeah, Gretchen is running my Facebook ads, and yeah, it's wonderful. Like, I talked to her just yesterday, and yeah, I can feel that she really cares about the results for my Facebook ads. So that's pretty much the difference. Like, it's not quite the same way if somebody's talking about the company and saying, oh yeah, Apple just called me up, and it feels like they really cared about, you know, what's going on with my computer. You know, it's quite not the same, but Apple does make you feel like they really care when you go to the Genius Bar and everything, but you get what I'm saying. So anyway, we're gonna move on to my other examples. All right, so here's Beyonce. You might look at her as a personal brand, but actually she sort of had a business brand called Sasha Fierce. Why? Because she wasn't ready to be seen in the way that, you know, she needed to be seen. Like, the brand that they were going to create for her was way too sexy, maybe for the comfort of her very introverted self at that time. So that's where Sasha Fierce came in. You can even say that that's the business brand. Sasha Fierce was the business brand, and Beyonce was a personal brand behind it. So even if you watch all the interviews and everything, you can sort of see that Beyonce is definitely very introverted, and it's like a complete contrast to what you see on stage, which is Sasha Fierce. But the important thing to realize here is that now Beyonce says she doesn't need Sasha Fierce anymore because she has, you know, incorporated that business, or you can even say alter ego or persona, into her own person. So she has that going on as well. So you may be a Beyonce right now and your business needs to be Sasha Fierce, and that's fine. But just think of it as, what would your business look like? What would the Sasha Fierce of your business look like? And you want to keep channeling that until your business is at that stage. I hope that makes sense. So let me say that again. It's important to have a vision of the image that you want your brand to be in the future, so that you can work towards that, because like having that vision is super important. And it will help you right now as well in terms of, you know, just moving towards the goal that you want, because you already have the ideal outcome that you've set for your business. Okay, and let's move on to our second example, Anna Wintour. Before Anna Wintour, I knew Vogue, but not in the same level as when she came out into the limelight. You know, when she became the chief editor, it just became this brand that basically, it's not just a magazine anymore. It's all about how fashion affects people's lives. They made it more attainable. They made it more relatable in some ways, because she started putting, you know, regular celebrities on the cover and not just models. And the celebrities, I know we all can relate to as well. They're personal brands, right? And Vogue suddenly had a personal brand behind it as well. So Vogue is the business, and Anna Wintour is the personal brand behind it. So if you're leading a business, or you're going to be the CEO of a business, it's very, very important to have that personal brand. Next up is Apple. Okay, so with Apple, we all know Steve Jobs is the man behind Apple. It's pretty much synonymous. When you say Steve Jobs, you think of Apple, and vice versa. And I hope by now you can see how powerful it is to have that personal brand. Apple is also the most valuable brand in the world. And part of that is, if you look at the history of Apple, they were fighting against IBM, which was this massive company, and you didn't even know who was behind it. And what the brilliant marketing that Apple has done was put Steve front and center and made the company even more loved by so many people, so that when Steve Jobs passed away, everybody who's ever owned an Apple device was just so completely touched and saddened by his passing. Okay, so that said, basically start with a personal brand, because if being comfortable at this stage is your priority, then build a business brand, but don't forget about your personal brand that will emerge later. Okay, so how to figure out your branding. Okay, we've covered this more in depth in another lesson, but we're gonna go through it again. All right, so this is the user persona, and I know if you're like me, you've probably tried to do the user persona so many times and it didn't get you closer to figuring out what your branding is. And that's because user personas are being misused, okay? User personas have a different function in business, and it has everything to do with your marketing, but hardly anything to do with your personal branding, okay? Your personal branding is basically this. How you figure it out, or the method that I use to figure it out, is figuring out the brands you love, and then the brands your customers love, and then you want to put them together. If you don't have a customer yet, just think of your ideal customer. Maybe there's even an influencer that you're following online and you love their work and everything. So you want to look at what brands do they keep talking about, what do they wear, what car do they drive, what sort of shoes do they wear, and then you want to list those down. Think about the person that you would want or dream of working with, and that's how you're going to figure out your own branding. So you kind of marry them together. That way you've got something that appeals to your customers, and also some the qualities that you love, and where they intersect is where your brand should be. Now, when you're starting out, maybe it's really difficult for you to figure out your ideal customer. Maybe you don't even have anybody in mind, and that's fine. In that case, just think of your personal brand, okay? So you can focus on this when you're starting out, and then move on later to adding in your customers as your vision for your business becomes clearer, okay? So this is optional. This actually comes later in your business, but when you're starting out, usually you just start with this, okay? You start with you, and you start with your personal brand. Okay. And next up is you want to search Google or Pinterest with the brand qualities you've listed, and you want to look at the images that come up. Okay. So those are quite important, because we are in the visual branding and aesthetics space. So you want to look at what's coming up and in people's minds and everything, and you want to grab inspiration from that. So for instance, this is my list, the brands that I love. Of course, there's Apple. I love Oprah, Tim Ferriss, David Ogilvy, Isabelle Marant, which is a French designer. I just love her. I love Chanel as well. and then we've got the Papillionaire bicycles, which is like a local brand in Australia. We've got Panda Chocolate. I love them all. And then these are the brands that my ideal customers love. Okay. And then I listed out the qualities I love and the qualities I don't love. For instance, manufacturing practices for Apple right here. You know, I'm not judging or anything, but I feel like, well, I've got opinions, but basically I'm not judging, but I'm wishing that sometimes it's different. Anyway, so and then I put on here, for instance, I have the list of verbs right here, and I say, okay, what are the qualities I want to add that's not on the top list? And here we are. I just added some humor, creativity, and essentialism, which are qualities from Ogilvy that it's not intersecting with the qualities that I love. So basically, these two are the intersections between what you love and what your customers love. And then these are the qualities you want to add from the brands that you love. And that's how you create your personal brand and make it unique to you. Because how many people are going to have the exact same thing that we just listed here? It's probably like 1 in a billion or something. So don't worry about looking at like everybody else. Once you've nailed this, you're going to be gold. Okay, so this is how I created my Pinterest board. I just searched for, you know, I've taken one of the verbs or adjectives here, for instance, minimalist, and then I put the word brand on there, right here. Okay, and I basically searched, and I looked, and whatever grabbed me, I pinned it. So you can see my pins right here. Okay, and you want to basically use all the verbs here until you have about 10 pins that you really love. You can even do 2 rounds, like just keep pinning and not thinking about it. And then afterwards, just take 5 minutes to narrow it down to about 10 to 20 pins. I think that would be the best, and just pick the best ones that you love that evoke that emotion for you. Okay, and then basically what we're doing here is you absorb what is useful and you reject what is useless, and you add what is specifically your own. And that's by none other than Bruce Lee. All right, so we're going a little bit fast here because I don't want to take up too much of your time. So we're going to talk about the lesser known tools that cut your learning curve, marketing efforts, and graphics creation in half. And we've already covered this sort of. So Leadboxes, it's my favorite opt-in and content delivery platform. What I mean by content delivery is you can upload like a PDF, and if somebody opts in, it delivers the content that they've opted in for you. So that's Lead Pages. It pretty much takes me 5 to 10 minutes to create a new lead box. For instance, I created a new resource and I want to create a lead box for it. It takes me 5 to 10 minutes. I duplicate one, change up the wording, and that's pretty much it. Okay. Oh, and of course the content, but that's about it. All right, and Figma. So it's the free alternative to Photoshop and Canva. It's actually more advanced than Photoshop. You can do so much more with it and so much faster. I mean, you can export in so many different sizes without creating a whole new page, or, and you can even export 26 graphics which is what I'm gonna show you later, but you can export all of that in one click of a button. So that's not something that you can do with Canva. All right, check.io. It's a really pretty and free payment gateway that uses Stripe and PayPal. They do take commission if somebody signs up to it. So that's just one of the caveats to it, but you're not paying a monthly fee, which is what I love. And similar to Wave Apps as well, which is an accounting software. Okay. And lastly, I just want to end with this. Your brand is the promise that you make implicitly and explicitly. Okay. And I just want you to remember this when you're creating your visual branding, because whatever you're designing, a lot of new entrepreneurs, they make the mistake of thinking that their design is going to reel in the customers. It doesn't. It just lays down the platform. It gives you that virtual office, but in the end, it's you who's going to deliver that to your customers, okay? All right, so that's about it. Let me see if there's any questions. Nope, no questions at the moment. All right, let's just see. Okay. All right, guys. Well, if you have any questions later, just let me know. I could go on Facebook Live and just answer anything that you're struggling with. So once again, thanks so much, and thanks for joining the challenge. I'm going to post the winners later on, but let me quickly show you. Okay. Let me just check here. Okay, so I want to just thank you all. And again, if you want to email me your questions later on, we can do another Facebook Live. And that's pretty much it. Just email me your questions, gretchen@8thecorners.co. The group is at retro.link/dlounge. And if you want to know more about the brand tour and want to take it to the next level, that's thebrandtour.com. It's not open yet. You've got the weekender, however, but that's pretty much how you can find me and find out more. Okay. All right. Thanks again, guys, and keep an eye out in the group, and I'll be posting the winners on there and the prizes as well. And it could be you, so check your email. Okay. Check your spam folders in case it goes there. So, all right, thanks again, guys, and have a great weekend. Ooh, it's Friday here, so super excited. All right, see you later. Bye-bye.